Hi, what's up? It's Ollie Far Too Loud, and I am making this video because after I made the last one there was someone who, I think I've seen a couple of comments, was asking how I made that screeching bass sound in 600 years that you heard in the intro, and finally I'm getting around to make a video to explain it. Better late than never. As this is a bit of an older sound, you can see here I've designed it in Native Instruments Core. So within Core you don't really know how to need to know how to use it. However, we have got two channels here, so there's a different synthesizer on each channel, one just doing a sub bass and one which is the main sound. So if you missed it, it sounds like this. So with this sound, you know, I had the idea before I made it, I wanted it to sort of start off like a growl and then go into like a feedbacky high tone. And if I mute the sub, I can show you the main patch, and I used FM8 to do this. The reason I used FM8 is because of these sort of flexible amplitude envelopes that you can apply to each of the operators. So I started out in this patch with the F operator just doing a saw wave, no modulation from the envelope there, just a standard saw wave. It's going into the X operator, and I've used the saturator a bit, and it's going into the Z operator, and I've just adjusted the filter cutoffs just to give a sort of a extra bit of tonality there, you know. So that's the start of the patch. Then next I modulated the F operator with the E operator. I guess I just sort of scanned through the different waveforms and picked one I like, detuned it a bit to get some inharmonic overtones, and then the sound becomes more complex, so like this. And then I used the amplitude envelope here to make it or the modulation amount envelope, sorry, to so that it sort of, the modulation starts at maximum and then decreases and then fades back in again, so you get something like this, and that's set to respond to the keyboard velocity as well. So the envelope time, you know, it can be short or longer depending on the velocity I play, which is cool for, you know, different bass edits if you want it to happen more quickly or slowly. So when the envelope dips here, you know, it starts off like a growl, and then as the modulation decreases, I want another this sort of high tone to come in, and I've used another oscillator for that. This one, again, I probably just scanned the waveforms and just picked one I liked, but I set the ratio to 24, which is really high, so that's 24 times the fundamental frequency or the frequency of the note that I'm playing. And this is set to modulate the original saw wave F operator, but the envelope on this one is set so that there's no modulation at the start of the note, then it sort of gradually starts fading in, so it's doing what the opposite of what the E operator is doing, such that the note starts off like a growl and then turns into this sort of high tone and then goes back to the growl, so you get something like this. That's essentially all there is to say about what's going on in FM8, apart from a couple of small things, just sort of add, you know, a bit of extra sort of, you know, tonality to the sound, I guess. I routed the E oscillator direct to the output as well, because it just had sort of a nice bit of noise that I liked, very subtle. And I also used the overdrive and cabinet effects within FM8, and I like in FM8 that you can sort of do a wet-dry balance of all the effects there, so there's a bit of the dry signal in there too. In terms of plugins, there's not so much on this sound. I've used two instances of Trash, Isotope Trash, which because I've got a new computer and new system, and this is the old version of Trash. Although it does the processing, if I open it, things go a bit weird, you see. So anyway, I've kind of explained what I do with 2 instances of Trash in my last video with the Doomsday Machine lead, but basically one of them just treats the high end of the sound using, a high pass filter and distortion on that, and then the other treats the rest of the sound, anything but the high frequencies. And you can see I've put an EQ after that one just to take off the high frequencies and also the low frequencies too, because there's a separate sub bass. And then after that, just some final EQ. And at that time, I was using the sausage fattener to squash all my basses. If you want, if you're still using the sausage fattener, I can actually recommend another plugin to you, which is Stillwell. It's called Event Horizon from Stillwell Audio. Here it is. This is just a clipping or limiting plugin, but if you just want to squash any of your bass sounds or synth sounds, whack up the soft clip, set this to clip mode, and then you're going to get a nice fat sausage of synth sound. So this is also layered up if you want to see it with a sub bass, which just comes from Massive. This is my standard sub bass, mixing between sine and triangle wave, and then with a bit of the tube drive on there, and followed by an EQ which just cuts off any real high harmonics just to clean it up a bit. So that was the 600 Years Screaming Bass Sound. I hope you enjoyed that. Go make some nasty sounds of your own, and I'll do another one in another few months.